Did you know Google will give your nonprofit $10,000 every month in free ad spend? Most organizations either don't know it exists or don't know how to use it properly. My name's Zach. I'm from Avertis, and we've helped nonprofits and the agencies that serve them maximize the Google Ads grant to drive more awareness, donations, and engagement without wasting budget or getting disqualified. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how to know if you're eligible, and I'll also walk you through what ways your agency can leverage this tool. So, what is the Google Ads grant? Well, it's a $10,000 up to $10,000 a month in free search ad budget for eligible nonprofits. That's key. Note, it can only be used for Google Ads search campaigns. There's different campaign types, and it is not eligible for display campaigns, video campaigns like YouTube, or retargeting. It's only eligible for paid search campaigns. Now, there's some requirements here that I'm going to say up front, right? So if you don't meet these requirements initially, that's okay. Odds are you can probably change some things around to meet them. But this is really important because if Google bans you once and denies your claim to getting an ads grant, it's going to kind of be really difficult to apply again, right? So requirements: you need a valid 501c3 as a nonprofit or organization status. You need a proper website with content, right? Can't just be something you just spin up and it's blank. You also need to make sure that you're registered as a nonprofit within Google's workspace. So I'm not going to go into all of that right now. Instead, I first want to get into, are you eligible? Because you don't want to try to go through this process knowing that you're not eligible, and then Google comes back and then it denies your request to get awarded the Google Ads grant. That would suck, to be honest. So I created a ad grant eligibility checker for your organization. Now, what's really cool about this is you can ask it anything, and it is going to be your personal ads grant advisor. So let's pretend that I am a church. So I run a local church in Louisville, Kentucky, and I am interested in the Google Ads grant. Awesome. Now here it walks you through exactly what you need to be eligible. So to access your eligibility and give you a personalized rating, I need to ask you a few important questions. So number one, nonprofit status. Is my church officially registered as a 501c3 nonprofit organization in the US? Yes or no? Website requirements. Does my church have a website? Is my website secure? Does it have HTTPS and display a padlock in the browser? That's a little padlock that you guys see when you're on websites. Is the content on your site clear, detailed, and reflective of your mission and services, aka not blank? Content policy compliance. Does my church engage in any activities or publish any content that would be considered discriminatory or politically partisan? No. Use of the grant. Do you have a general idea of what you'd like to use a $10,000 a month ad credit for? Promoting services, community events, outreach programs. Google account. Do I have access to a Gmail account that I'd be comfortable using to apply? Once I have the answers, I can give you a 1 out of 10 rating on how likely you are to be approved and guide you the next steps. So let's answer some of these. So, nonprofit status. Yes, my church is a 501c3. Yes, I have a great website. No, my church does not violate any policies. I want to use the grant to reach more church visitors. I do not have access to a Google account. So let's say that 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say all of these are good, but let's say you don't have a Google account currently. Let's see what it says. It's letting us know where our gap is, and then it's even giving us an eligibility score, 9 out of 10. So what's nice about this is that it is acknowledging that that's okay, we don't have a Google account access, and it just is confirming that we need a Gmail account to start the application that needs to be tied to everything in the Google for Nonprofits ecosystem, including the ad grant. Without it, you can't apply or manage your grant. That's important. So this is a key factor. Oftentimes we see they're white labeled under different marketing agencies where they're asking someone on their team to go ahead and just go through the process and apply. Here's the problem. It then becomes synced up to their Google account, to their Gmail account, right? And that's a problem because then the nonprofit doesn't own the Google account, and therefore if any changes needed to happen, or if they need to verify anything, or if the person submitting the information on behalf of the nonprofit gets it wrong, then it kind of gets it wrong and you have to wait to apply until later again, right? So it just keeps denying your approval, pushes the process back, and it gets really frustrating. So that's why I believe it's really important for the Google account to either be a shared Google account between your nonprofit client and your agency, or for the Google account to be owned by the nonprofit client and you walk through, like in a screen recording with the client, how to get this set up. But I do not recommend just giving it to your ad specialist or giving it to your white label team to sign up and apply for it, because odds are it's going to get rejected. It's not going to be associated with the church, and Google's going to think it's suspicious. And that's unfortunate. I want you guys to get this grant. So what's nice about this is it even encourages you what the next steps are to maximize your chances. So it wants you to create a Gmail account, right? It can be free. Begin the application process, even tells you where to go, Google for Nonprofits, and even prepares a short grant use description about what you're going to use this for, right? And you can keep going. You can say, please give me a grant description that I can use when applying. It even writes out a grant description that you can just copy paste and you can push into there, right? So quite literally, you can use this, you can copy and paste this whole thing, put it into a doc, and you can give this to your nonprofit client with those steps of what they're supposed to do and what they're supposed to work on, right? Or you can work with my team and we can also help walk through it as well. So let's roll it back. I want to summarize this. The Google Ads grant is $10K in free search ad budget for eligible nonprofits. Can only be used for search campaigns, not display, video, or retargeting. Requirements. You need to have a valid 501c3, proper website. The common mistakes that can lead for you to get this grant denied or disapproved is if you aren't using the same Gmail account that's associated with the nonprofit, you're not using a shared Gmail account that at least both of you have access to, or you're just letting someone not qualified fill out this information when it really should be the nonprofit filling out this information. Also, some items that we haven't touched on here that are really important. You need to learn how to structure your campaigns, right? You need to stay compliant within Google's very strict rules. You need to make sure that your account structure and setting up the Google Ads account needs to have 2+ ad groups at minimum, right? It needs to have proper click-through rate. It needs to have good keyword targeting. You need to avoid disqualifying factors like low quality scores or inactive ads, right? This will flag Google and it'll be really hard to spend up to that 10K. Sometimes you'll even go through this whole process, you'll get approved for the 10K, up to 10K ad spend grant, and then you find that you're only spending $100 a month and you're like, why am I not able to spend more? Well, it's probably because they won't tell you, but it's probably because your campaigns are not structured properly and therefore is hindering you to spend much more. So how can your marketing agency help nonprofits to win with this Google Ads grant eligibility checker? Well, position this as a foot in the door offer. Say, I will go out of my way to see if your organization is eligible for $10,000 in free Google Ads credits, right? All I need you to do is just give me information about your business. And then that's a lead. And then you can use this ad grant eligibility checker to quickly, your sales team could do this. Nobody technical needs to be working this, right? And so and you can be pushing out requests for approvals, and you can be leveraging this eligibility checker to see if they would even be approved, right? If you should even go through this rigmarole in this process. You can also leverage this and services in general to help with grant management, landing pages, and conversions. So if they don't have a proper website, boom, that's an upsell. You can help them with a landing page or a website. Also, Advertis can help create a landing page or a website for you, white labeled. And the best ways that I see people using this is pairing it with paid ads. If you can pair your Google Ads grant also with paid ads and separate campaigns, right, with a different budget, and keep them separated, oh man, that you're going to win, because basically you're paying half of whatever anyone else is paying, and you're going to easily bid out your competitors. So remember, it's easy to forget. Sometimes this feels like free money, especially for those who are in Google Ads all the time, day in, day out. But please treat this like a real campaign. One of the unfortunate circumstances that I ran into in the early days of my agency is I was speaking with a client, and the client and us were talking, and the client was frustrated that we underspent on the campaign within that given month. And I said, no worries, we can overspend for next month and it would be fine. And I said, it's free money anyways. Oh man, I wanted to kick myself after that call. I was so embarrassed. I literally said, it's free money anyways. And the client was not too happy. It gave off the impression that I wasn't treating this like a real campaign. And I said the words, it's free money, which you should never say, because for this nonprofit, this was their livelihood, right? They were trying to leverage these campaigns to get more donors, to get more clients. This was a big part of their business, right? And I'm so embarrassed to say that. Fortunately, it was several years ago, but it's not free money, right? That there's a lot of work that goes into getting approved for the grant, and then a lot of work in just spending the money for the grant if you don't have somebody in your back pocket to help walk and guide you through it. So if you're a nonprofit or an agency working with one and you want help maximizing the $10K a month Google Ad grant, that's something we do every day at Advertis. Book a strategy call with us. Let's get started. Let's get you approved.